Well, for more analysis, we can cross now to the Haitian capital, Port-au-Prince, and speak to the editor-in-chief of the Ayibopost, Widlore Merancourt. Thank you very much indeed for speaking to you. Can I just start by asking you, what is the situation there in Port-au-Prince there like now? Is there a sense of calm, or is there a grave sense of concern?
Okay, so where I am right now in Port-au-Prince, I'm not hearing gunshots, but it's still a tense situation. A state of emergency has been declared by the Prime Minister, but a lot of people are anticipating a tense situation coming. People who have the means are trying to buy as much food as they can because, like one told me, they think that a storm might come in the country since we don't really know what happened and we don't really know what will happen.
I mean, are there any theories? I mean, presumably there are lots of theories doing the rounds as to who was behind this. Do any of them sound credible to you?
Well, we have more questions than answers in this situation, and as a journalist, I can only state what I know as fact. So what we know is the persons who conducted this attack were speaking English and Spanish and Creole. One of them was speaking both languages, Creole and English, in a very American accent, and nobody is trying to say, oh, this is me, I did it. The police officers are trying to investigate. The government says we will have answers in due time, so we are still waiting for answers from the authorities. But at the same time, there is another state of confusion with regard to who is legitimate to conduct the affairs of the government, because as you probably know, the Prime Minister, Claude, he resigned because he was supposed to be replaced, and his replacement was nominated via decree right before the president was killed. So a lot of political actors are saying that he don't have neither the legal nor the moral authority to take actions in the name of the government in Haiti.
Yeah, and just looking at the top story on the Ayibopost, that question is being raised, in fact, by you in an article that you have penned, asking the question, who is in control of the country? Who's running the country? Let me just ask you, though, I mean, what was the overall mood and security situation like in the days before this assassination? I mean, there had been some large protests in recent months, had there not? And do you think anyone had any indication that something like this could be on the cards?
Well, it's a storm on top of another storm in the country. What happened is 7 days earlier, a gang's members killed about 20 people in Haiti, and one of them was a high-profile opponent of the president, and the other one, the other high-profile assassination was a prominent journalist as well. And a couple of weeks before that, I mean, and it's a situation that is ongoing today. Gang members and gang leaders and gang groups conducted different massacres and killings in several areas, including Martissan, and you have thousands of people who are fleeing this violence and seeking refuges in Port-au-Prince. So it was already a dire security situation, but right now you have on top of that a vacuum in power. I'm repeating constitutional lawyers who are saying there is nothing in the books in terms of how you should handle one situation like that where most institutions are dismantled. You don't have a parliament that is working properly because the parliament was rendered inactive last year in 2019, I believe, and you don't have neither a judicial system that is working. And the Supreme Court of Haiti, his head was died by COVID in a couple of weeks back. So you don't really know how you should handle a situation like that. And one proposition would be that political forces and actors get together and find a solution. You are seeing a lot of theories with regard to You have a couple of senators that would choose the president. That's an idea, but it's a lot of things are unclear right now.
Yeah, I was going to ask you exactly that question. I mean, in these circumstances, an extremely volatile situation. I mean, political parties surely need to come together in the national interest. And I mean, I just want to pick you up. I mean, do people think it's likely that they will?
Well, it depends. I can't tell you the future. Unfortunately, I'm just a journalist. But what we know is the president personally was was someone who was embattled in corruption scandals. He was not a very liked figure in the opposition. There is a lot of division with regard to his figure in Haiti. And he presided over a country that is worsened day by day. 4.4 million people in Haiti are in urgent needs of food, for instance. But there is not a reunited opposition neither. You don't have a leader of the opposition in Haiti. You have several large entities who are very who have strong opinions and who used to protest in the street with regard to corruption in the administration of Jovenel Moïse and things like that. And one would hope that they will get together. But the other actor is the international community, because one argument that you can hear in Haiti is the fact that if it was not for the international community, Jovenel Moïse would not have been president today, because large protests was being conducted during his reign, and he was rendered difficult to govern. But he was when the opposition, for instance, claims that his mandate expired according to the constitution, and several constitutional lawyers are telling you yes, his mandate expired effectively. It was the international community who stand behind him. So this international community have a role right now to play with regard to what comes next.
Yeah, and in fact, it just looks like the U.S. State Department is giving a briefing on the situation there in Haiti. Lots of news coming in as we've been talking. The U.S. calling for elections to be held this year. They're also saying they expect to receive a formal request in Washington from Haiti for equipment and for aid. And the United States offering to help with the investigation. I mean, just in terms of the help that Haiti needs from the United States, I mean, what sort of request might they make in terms of a request for assistance? Okay, it looks like we've lost our guest in Haiti, Widlore Merancourt in Port-au-Prince, who was speaking to us just there.